Hi, my name is Roy Canterbury. I'm going to be your host today on Archer Talk 101. And we have Chris on the line with us, and we're going to talk to him about some archery challenges he's had and how he's overcoming them and just learn a little bit more about him and how his archery journey started and how it's going now. So, Chris, how about if you introduce yourself and tell us a little something about you?
All right. I'm Christopher Clark. I've started archery back when the Olympics were here in Atlanta in '96. I started going to a club somewhat in the area called Mills Archery under Bill and Norma Mills. Uh, did that all the way up until I graduated high school and decided to join the Marine Corps. I was in there for 2 years, 7 months due to a car wreck that happened on 4th of July, 2005. Because of that, I lost a lot of my vision. I thought my archery career was over, as well as my time in the Corps. And I decided to go do college instead once the Marine Corps let me go. I did that for uh, since '08 to close to '10. And I found out that the brain damage was more than just the vision. I had lost memory, I lost cognitive function. And due to that, I couldn't finish college or uh, hold down a steady job. I ended up uh, very depressed for several years. And finally, the VA gave me 100% unemployable, and things were starting to get a little bit better. I was able to at least pay bills and get stuff done. But during the end of that period, I was learning how to train service dogs for disabled vets like myself. And I was helping the owner with some construction, and he dropped an industrial garage door on my head again. And I went back in, and they're like, okay, you've lost more vision. And instead of just damaging the frontal and occipital lobe from the core, you now have damaged your parietal and uh, I can't even keep up with all the brain damage now. But about that time, the Marine Corps Wounded Warrior Program reached out to me. They're like, hey, we heard that you know how to do archery, and we want more archers on the Marine Corps team. And so they flew me out to California and had me try out for the Marine Corps uh, team that competes later on with the other branches of the service for the Warrior Games. Uh, that first year, I was blowing everyone away and then ended up with salmonella poisoning the night before the tournament. Missed out that year. They asked me to come back, and I did the year after that and about a year after that one, and took gold on both of them to the point that I was beating the other Marines, the other servicemen by over 100 points. So they're like, well, we know you can do archery, but we also want you to do other sports. And I was like, with my vision, I No. I'm an archer. If you want me to help you win against the other branches and other countries that were there, it has to be the Marine Corps. I know archery. And they're like, well, we can't use you. So I went to start shooting again at Georgia events. And I decided I will try to apply for the Paralympics due to the vision loss. And I kept getting declined, saying that it wasn't bad enough. And so I was like, well, I need to try with open. And I shot, was still very competitive. So I kept doing it all the way till today. And last month, even though I been mainly focused on indoor tournaments, I tried an outdoor tournament and ended up with a gold shooting 70 meters away. And I was like, okay, well, I can't complain about my vision anymore.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I've touched a lot of points with archery. Like I said, I started back when the Olympics were here. Uh, During those JOAD years, I went to Texas A&M. I shot at Vegas, and after that, I tried the trials, and it was okay. I can't shoot disabled. So I now started shooting state tournaments, and I did Lancaster 2 years ago. And let's say this, I am much better with an Olympic recurve than I am with a compound. I thought a compound would be a great way to compensate for my vision. I was wrong. I soon went back to shooting Olympic recurve after that and started winning, like I said, state tourneys. I plan on doing Lancaster this year around and see where I end up then.
So quite a journey. Not letting your handicaps, hold you back, and that's amazing. And so your vision, what is your vision like? Just kind of
Uh, if,
curious on it.
if you know what peripheral vision is,
Yeah.
I have none. Even straight in front of me, like if I'm looking at the camera now, all I see is your right eye. Everything else is gone. Like if you uh I compensate by moving my eyes around a lot, my head around, so I get a full picture. But if, let's say, you took your hat off, I might not even notice it. Or uh, the crazy thing is, when you go to get your driver's license, they test your uh, peripheral vision, your acuity, and all that.
Yeah.
I went there expecting them to just give me a state ID. They determined that I failed all their vision tests, and they still gave me a state ID, driver's license ID. And I was like, I know I'm never going to drive, but the fact that you did it for me, I worry about the other drivers that
Right.
are out on the road, especially since the reason why I had the first TBI was because a semi driver drove uh, my girlfriend at the time and me off the road, and we flipped the car 7 times. So car wrecks are very uh, worrisome to me. So the fact that the Georgia State driving department, whatever they're called, still give out licenses to people that are clearly blind uh, is very worrisome.
Yeah.
But in regards to how I can see on the range, the way I tell the students here and the customers that come in at Archery Learning Center here in Snellville, Georgia, I tell them, well, the goal doesn't move. So all I do is I focus my stance, my body directly on the same point every time. And if I can pull the bow back the exact same way, the right tension, the right pressure, I normally hit the center. So I wouldn't recommend taking me out hunting because I probably won't even see the deer until it's past me. But tournaments, I'm usually pretty good at keeping track of my target.
Yeah, as long as you're not trying to hit a moving target, if it stays still, because you're
Exactly.
focusing on one little spot, which is um, not really an advantage, but that's what we try to teach you is focus on where you want the arrow to go, not any place else. And you naturally that's what you have to do is focus
Yeah,
on one spot.
exactly. And for the most part, I don't even look at the target until I'm right about to shoot. I'm focusing on my stance, how I draw the bow, how I anchor. And then, like I said, it's all about the pressure and the best release I can do and just go from there.
Yeah, you naturally have to do what we try to tell people to do is get a format that you go through step by step process. You go through the process, and then once you store the energy, then your only job is to aim.
Yep.
And that's exactly what we try to teach people to do. And sometimes it doesn't work, sometimes it does. Um, that's that's kind of the fundamentals of archery is
Hmm.
don't look around because if you close your that's what we teach shoot with your eyes closed because with your eyes closed you can see what your body's doing. You can watch your body go through the motions and then open them up at the last, then you focus on where you want it to go, and then you go through you finish your shot process. And
Exactly.
and you've been forced to do that just because of, the vision. If you only get a little bitty spot, you know, there's no reason to focus on the spot until you get to your form, and that just automatically goes through that process. And that's probably why you shoot so good because, well, your process has to be the same.
Exactly. The only time I've ever had an issue was when I'm shooting three spots, knowing which three spot I aimed at because it all looks the exact same.
Yeah, you gotta feel okay. There's none above, there's one there. Okay, now on the bottom one, and yeah, we can only see one. You can't really see which one's there, and so you mostly just shoot the recurves then, without any sights or anything. And
Oh, I shoot Olympic recurve. So I do
oh
have a sight, but the clicker, the uh, way the bow feels in my hand is just more natural. It's what I shot back in my JOAD years. So, granted, bows have definitely changed since then to now.
yeah,
I started off with a what I thought was a pretty old Hoyt uh, recurve, and then my first professional, what I call professional recurve, was a original win-win Wildcat that I received from Bill Mills origin intentionally, but his wife Norma ended up giving it to me because he passed away.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
but that's a very sentimental bow to me. And then once I got out of the Corps in the college, I ended up shooting a back to Hoyt due to uh, a program called Operation Rebound, and a gentleman named Nick uh, Michelangelo. He's a great gentleman, also a retired Marine, and his program helps individuals with particular disabilities get archery equipment. And he hooked me up with a Hoyt, trying to remember the name of the bow. It should be the Exceed. And I was doing great with that. Then when I got the compound, that organization also paid for it. And I got the Exceed. Unfortunately, it was a little small for me, being a 6'2" individual. But so I ended up shooting a friend's prime for Lancaster, and that didn't do me so well. uh, and then they uh, got me another recurve just recently, an Uka 27-inch extra long limbs, and it's just been butter for me. It pulls back really nice. It holds very forgiving, especially with some X10s, and it I've been loving that bow.
Sometimes a little bit longer draw length, you need them longer limbs, just because that string pinch is just so tight. I know I was shooting fingers for years, and then I got one new bow, and it was enough shorter that even wearing a glove, my ring finger would go numb after I shoot,
Mhm.
20, 30 rounds. It's going numb, so I had to go to a release just because I couldn't shoot at fingers anymore, unless I wanted to shoot with two fingers.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
yeah, I wasn't going to do that.
Yeah, I tried different finger tabs, and George Riles here at ALC introduced me to this Australian brand that uses kangaroo leather, and it's just very smooth. And I've been sticking with that uh, for 2 years now. And like I said, that new setup just feels really good.
That kangaroo leather is nice and soft. I've got a couple of boots for my roller skates that are made of kangaroo leather, and they're little bit softer, and I like them, but I had to get special plates to use them because the plates I had two bolts in it, and you can't bolt them up to them. They
Yeah.
just too soft, like wearing tennis shoes.
Hmm. Yeah, it was, uh, like I said, it's just very comfortable. And along with that really light, uh, pure carbon riser and limbs from Uka is just, it feels right.
Yeah, yeah, that's what you got. Find something that works. Sometimes you have to go through several bows in order to get something that works for you, and not every bow is going to fit everybody.
Hmm. Yeah, I love the Exceed that I had, but it was very hard is the best way to describe it, unlike the Uka that has a nice soft pull and release. If I wanted something really fast and uh, gets the arrow to the target, Hoyt is the bow to go with. But the Uka just fit me like a glove.
And that's what counts. And that's what I tell, beginners, you know, no matter which type of bow you're looking, whether it's compound or recurve or longbow or whatever it is, especially we sold a lot of compounds, but grab the bow. If you're right-handed, grab right-handed bow in your left hand, see how's it feel. And if you don't, and
Mm-hmm.
grab another one until you get the one that feels good in your hand. If it don't feel good in your hand, you're not going to shoot it very good.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm just very lucky that I have some good names of people that have helped me through the years, like Norma and Bill Mills. Then I met Eric Burkett at the Marine Corps trials. And then, of course, Griv, George Riles here at ALC. And of course, Nico, who supplies me the equipment to stay competitive. And even met Alex Wiffler, who donates some plungers and sight pieces for me to just enjoy.
So do you use like a single pin then and just adjust it for what range you have then? Is
Yes,
how do you?
yeah. Even when I did the compound, I used UltraView and I just had that single pin. The only odd thing about the compound is no matter what magnification I used on the peep and the scope, it it was as if I was shooting my Olympic recurve. It did not change, and so I was like, I can't be competitive enough with this.
Yeah, I tried a clarifier peep and it didn't do anything for me. I just my vision it just didn't help it any.
Hmm.
And that's I was like, try them and see. If it doesn't work, hopefully you can borrow somebody's first to try it before you spend all the money on it. But um, if you have to spend the money on one and try it, and if it don't work, then it don't work, and stick it in your spare parts bin.
Yeah, I got plenty of those. The
Yeah,
the nice thing here at ALC is there are plenty of archers, and George and his son Leo had plenty of ones for me to pull out and try. It
yeah,
just the vision wasn't there.
yeah, yeah. I know. I haven't tried my compound in quite a while. I had problem I started having was the fiber optic pins.
Mhm.
Like my top pin's the red one because I see that the best. And um, instead of being just a red dot, it was a red dot with a black hole in the center of it. And I had a couple accidents, so I still can't pull my bow back yet. I'm getting close. I'm up. I can pull back a 25-pound bow to my draw legs, so I'm at least up to that point. My hunting bows, I can crank down to one compound down to 60, but I'm not ready to even try that one. I'm gonna try my recurve, which is a 40 or 45 first.
Yeah.
But um, I had a surgery where they went through and removed the lens off of there, and it healed back up. So I can't tell yet if it fixed it or not until I get a chance to be able to draw my compound back and look at the
Hmm.
sights to the peep and see, can I see the fiber optic pins as a pin and not a donut?
Yeah. And the way that I ended up doing it was just finding a part of the pin to put on the target face, but it was very difficult trying to look through both the peep, the pin, and the scope. So, and it just didn't feel natural to me since my entire life all I shot was recurve. So I had a hard time, simply enough. Even though George, Leo, and others here at the range tried to help me out and get me ready for Lancaster, it I just know I'll do better this year with the Olympic recurve.
And that's, quite all right. It's archery.
Hmm.
You have a stick with a string flinging another stick. That's archery. Doesn't matter what
Exactly.
form it is. Might
Exactly.
be horizontal, vertical bow, doesn't matter. It's still a stick with a string flinging another stick. So that's archery. So we're an archer.
Yep. And like I said, it's while I'm practicing now, I'm just trying to tweak how much I move the expansion and how much I put pressure on my uh, finger tab and making sure I can get my elbow around so that I have a clean release. And yeah, just shooting a stick.
Yeah. So what is kind of the process you go through when you're ready to release the string? Um,
Uh,
Kind of talk about
the
what you're doing on that.
Well, it goes all the way back to how I stand. I have to try to remember where I stood the last time I shot. And then from there, I'm focusing on not twisting my torso, just rotating my shoulders as I raise the bow and start to come to a what George calls a load. And I just rotate, draw the string to my face, and then as I see the arrow tip getting close to the clicker, I look up just to make sure that the bow's tilted right. And at that point, it's just relaxing, letting the shoulders fall back down and expanding towards the bale with one arm and then adding pressure towards behind me with the other arm. And when everything's right, the string on my face is right, the right amount of pressure, the right amount of force forward, the bow just clicks and I throw the bow pretty much as it goes out of my hand and the arrow hits the center. It's when I don't go through all those steps or it doesn't feel right, that's when an arrow ends up in the red or, heaven forbid, the blue.
Yeah.
But I I'm just trying to get that exact same feeling every time I shoot. And if it's not, then I try to analyze what I did. Most of the time, it's because I'm not standing in the exact same spot, uh, which was part of the reason I tried to get into the Paralympics because they uh, use a tactile sight instead of anything visual. So they bolt your feet to the ground and uh, you just, like I said, you expand, you pull back, and when everything feels right, you arrow flies off and you hit the bail and hopefully the target. But the benefit is your feet are in the exact same position every shot. And because of the memory loss and some of the cognitive, even though the bail or target looks straight in front of me, I could be a few inches off from where I shot the last round. And that changes my entire grouping because I'm either left, I'm right. And then when I try to adjust the sight to compensate, and I come back and I end up stepping in the wrong spot again, I'm off again.
Yeah.
So it's very important that I try to be in the exact same spot. And unfortunately, it doesn't happen that way every time.
Yeah, that's something that you really need to, all archers need to pay attention to that.
Mhm.
And one of the things that we used to do when I shot on a rifle team, and I also do it with a bow, is you draw back your eyes closed, open your eyes. If you're not on target, your body's off. Something is off. Your
Mhm.
grip could be off, which you're not gripping the bow in it, you're just kind of pushing on it, or your feet are off. Maybe you need to slide that foot back away from the target a half inch, or forward a half inch, or slide one foot slightly forward or slightly back, or maybe turn a foot, or maybe you're not standing up straight. And that's how we shot, rifles on a rifle team is,
Mhm.
we're doing that's how you can take at the normal indoor target range of 50 feet. You can put a 22 caliber bullet in a 9 ring that's 22 caliber diameter
Mhm.
center in there. And because our 10 ring was just, you take one of them straight pins you use, like when you're sewing, the head on that was the size of our 10 ring.
Yeah.
At 50 feet, you can't be off by more than half the distance of a 22. And taking that technique and moving it into archery, you go back and you're all set, ready to go. Now, if I'm bow fishing, you ain't got time. That's why I can't use a compound in
Yeah.
bow fishing, because I cannot shoot it instinctively. I use my recurve, because that's more on a recurve. I look at my target, draw back, looking at my target, and shoot. I don't reference off the tip of the arrow. You know, I, if I'm going to look at a tip that can move, even quarter inch or half inch, depending on how far you draw it back, you can be pretty accurate, on your drawback. But if you're off a little bit, now I'm referencing something that isn't solid. So if I'm going to look at the tip of my arrow, I'm going to put sights on it.
Yeah.
Or I'm just going to look at the target, kind of like you do. You look at your target, and everything else is there, and your body learns how to put it on that spot.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
you only look at where you want the arrow to go. Do not look at your sights, because if you're looking at your sights, what are you not aiming at?
Yeah.
You're
Exactly.
not
You
aiming at your
do.
target.
Yep. Uh, I, like I said, I don't even look up until I'm ready to shoot. And it, it was definitely a lot easier before I lost my sight.
Yes.
But I also was able to shoot sharpshooter in the Marine Corps before I lost my sight. And it, you don't realize how much. The funny thing is, when I had the car wreck, and after I was in the hospital, they thought I was paralyzed from the neck down. The vision just seemed the same as normal. It wasn't until I got back to base and they're like, well, you had a significant injury. We need to retest your vision. We need to do all these tests. And it was when I did the peripheral test and the acuity, they're like, do you realize that you have no vision anymore? And it just clicked. As soon as they said that to me, my field just shrank to nothing. And they're like, "How have you been compensating since then?" I was like, "I have no idea." And someone looked at me while I was just doing stuff around the barracks, and they're like, "Your eyes are just bobbing left and right continuously." And I was like, "Ah, that's how I'm not running into walls."
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I got hit by the industrial garage door and lost even more that I the bobbing up and down hasn't helped me. I've actually had to start using uh, seeing eye stick. The VA sent me up to the blind center in Chicago, and I had to learn more uh, tricks to keep from running into walls and bumping into other archers on the range. And I can't tell you the number of times I've caused a domino effect with other archers' bows
Oh,
because I didn't see them as I was coming off the line or going to the line. But yeah, I've as the Marine Corps taught me, you have to adapt, and so I put that towards my archery as well as my life due to the loss of vision.
yeah, you definitely have a lot you overcome to, stay in archery. That just kind of says that, you know, if there's something you want to do it.
Mhm. And it's also, as I tell people, I was like, am I'm good still at archery, and it's not just that I love it; it's that I'm still good at it. I I love teaching service dogs, but because of the cognitive loss, I couldn't remember how to do every step for training dogs. But put a bow in my hand, and it just comes naturally.
It's kind of like a subconscious reaction. You've done it so long that it's just a reaction. And I know a lot of us in martial arts, we react. We don't think about what's going on. We drop something, we automatically go down, which can be dangerous depending on what you're dropping. But
Mhm.
reach down where it's going to be and catch it. And just reaction time is sometimes we react before we even think. It's like you see the situation, just react to it, and then oh, okay, yeah, I guess you shouldn't have scared me.
Yeah, that's happened quite a lot with my wife. She comes up and I didn't know she was there, so I turn around and next thing I know I have an elbow in her face.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Luckily, she has forgiven me several times in the uh several years that we've been together. She was my high school sweetheart back in '03, and then when I got back to Georgia and started going through college, I found her again, and we've been together ever since. So she's
that's
been
good.
a strong shoulder to lean on throughout all this. I wish she was with me when I was in the Corps, but I feel bad for any wife or girlfriend that has a Marine on base because it it takes a right type of person to be in the military. It's I've seen good ones and I've seen bad ones.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. It's something. I was Air Force.
Ah, same as my
So
father.
yeah. Well, my dad was Air Force, and then when I'm thinking about it, it's like, okay, Army, yeah, I really don't want to be marching in Marines. No, I don't want to do that physically. Navy, I don't really get stuck on the ship for 6 months. I guess I'll stay with Air Force.
Yeah. My
That's my thought process.
my dad wanted me to go with Air Force with him, but I didn't have the ASVAB score for that. My choice was Marines, Navy, or Army, and it was funny. The Army's like, "We can put you in a tank," and I'm like, I don't want to be in a tank at this point. And what do I do when I get out of comm school? I get put into a tank battalion. So I ended up with tanks anyway.
Yeah. Well, you never know.
Yeah. Marine
Yeah,
Corps
you never
puts
know.
you. Uh, Marine Corps puts you where they need you, not where you want to be.
Right. They give you an semblance of choice, but yeah, a semblance of choice.
Yeah, it's also different uh, wartime, and luckily I was in. Yes, we were still in a military. Uh, uh, how would I put it? Active situation, but it wasn't war. I got there after Desert Storm, but before uh, we really kicked off in Iraq. So it was good timing.
Yeah, I was at the tail end of Vietnam in the
Yeah,
mid 70s.
you might have seen my father then. He he was Air Force and stationed in Hong Kong.
Oh, well, I was stationed in Texas for basic, and then I was stationed in Texas. I never left Texas.
uh, I ended up at 29 Palms, California, and that's where the car wreck happened. And my entire enlistment was in the middle of the Mojave Desert the entire time.
Yeah. Yeah, they can pretty nasty them car wrecks. Um April of last year, I had a triple bypass, just about recovered. I was basically recovered from it. And April 2nd of this year, I got hit from behind. The car was still traveling 65. I was making a turn at 29 miles an hour of dash cam,
Uh,
and he hit me so hard. I'm going sideways with the car tilting a little bit because it's sliding on the ground at 40 mile an hour sideways, and then turned around backwards, going 40 mile an hour backwards. So
yeah,
still not
uh,
recovered from it.
eh, I don't know if you ever recover from a car wreck. Like I said, it happened on 4th of July, and we didn't even get hit. The semi was in the wrong lane. We veered to avoid it and went off a sand dune and flipped 7 times. And my girlfriend at the time was killed, and I ended up in the hospital for a week. But yeah, it's luckily it. I was lucky that I survived. I was lucky that I could shoot it still once I got out, but it's a good thing that I'm able to adapt to how it is. Like, it wasn't until the Warrior trials that realized you can shoot no matter what you have. You could be missing
Right.
legs, you could be missing parts of your hand. Uh, there were those from other countries that came and they were competing in their own division, and they had no legs, they had no arms, but they were still able to shoot a bow. And so I was like, well, I I can't see as well as I can. I can't use my wrist anymore, but there's no reason why I can't shoot. And
Yeah.
I was right. And everyone around me, like Eric Burkett, also known as Trainwreck, who was also in the Marine Corps, but his issue was his uh, Harrier that he was flying crashed, and he lost both his legs and part of his hand, and now he's shooting for the U.S. team. So I met a lot of good archers throughout my life, and there is no excuse why you can't shoot. It just might
Yeah.
be a different way that you shoot.
Yeah, kind of like the one of the archers I had. I come to my store when I had my store. He had MS, and normally you want to bend in that arm, but a bent with MS, you couldn't bend it. He had to lock it out. So we
Hmm.
had to figure out how can he lock it out and still not be destroying his arm by hitting his arm. So we went through all that, and we got him to to be able to shoot. And it's just a matter of having a coach or an instructor that is willing to work through those problems. And I think that's kind of the fun part.
Hmm.
Somebody that picks it up and it's like, no, okay, I didn't have any fun. You're having fun. Good, go shoot. But when you have problems with stuff, then that's how I learn as a coach. Is I learn as I'm trying to solve problems for other archers.
Hmm.
And every person I find that has a problem, that struggling with something, may not be a handicap, might just be in learning how to do something. And then in the many years I did martial arts, you know I can't tell you to do this, do this, do this, do this if you're not understanding what this is. I have to maybe I have to show you that or something. It's got to be something different. And that's what you learn in teaching martial arts, because the technique is the same no matter who's doing it, but the process to get there might be different. And
Hmm.
that's what I teach. One way of doing it, I think it's the correct way for me.
Hmm.
And I'm going to teach you why I want you to do this, because if you don't know the why, the how don't matter.
Yep.
Why am I telling you to do it this way? Here's why I want you to do that. Just like I want pressure on the those with martial training, heel palm strike.
Yep.
It's that spot that connects the bone clear up into the shoulder. Even my arm bent, I'm pushing on it. I feel it in the shoulder. But if I push on the sides, your hand just wants to twist. And what I'll do is I'll take something, okay, put your arm out to the side, put your arm up, and then I'll push on that spot, and then, okay, resist. And they can almost hold my weight. But as soon as I put my hand on the side, they feel it in the wrist, and they can't hold me back. And that's one of the techniques we learn in martial arts, is how to lock up the wrist. Because if I
Hmm.
lock up your wrist, I can throw you with it. And
Yep.
that's what's happening on the bow. And I teach that. This is why. So I'll show them that it's like, this is why I want you to push at this part of your hand, because you're stronger. And not pull them across your chest, because those are your weak muscles. Pull it up and use your back muscles. And there's a lot of stuff. And um, I was up to, well, probably can't see it on my hat, but it says Missouri Valley Outdoor Expo. Um, I can't hardly read it, so I'm sure you can't read it. But
No.
um,
I know
and
it's there, but yeah, it's
yeah,
I see gold, and then as I scan over, I see white.
yeah. Um, every year, this is the 20th year they've had it up at Ponca State Park in Nebraska. It's right
Hmm.
by Sioux City,
Yeah.
the corner between Sioux City, Nebraska, and Iowa. I mean, and South Dakota. Right up there is where Ponca State Park is, and they have an outdoor expo every year. And I go up. This is the fourth year I've helped now. I go up and help out with what they call the aerial archery,
Hmm.
which is a little foam disc that's in a little launcher, and it launches it, and there's a mat to catch them, the arrows. And your arrows have like little baseball or tennis balls on it. It's some big rubber pieces. Some of them are bludgeons, but um, so you shoot at them as they're flying.
Okay.
And and you know I'll teach some of that stuff if I have a little time with somebody that's basically willing to learn. Um, Most of the ladies, they're willing to learn more than the guys are. So most of those guys just, yeah, here you go.
Yeah.
And and so I'll teach them a little bit, and I've shown that a few times, and gotten them pretty good. And one young lady I was teaching, telling her how to do it and everything. Her first shot with an arrow, she hit the disc. Like, cool.
Yeah, there's yeah. Like I said, I was at the trials and people that I didn't even know how they were going to pull the bow back. Uh, Trainwreck got the bow in their hand and he knew how to adapt it for them, and they hit. It's very seldom that someone missed an arrow off the bail, but uh, he saw me shooting and he's like, "How are you not shooting in a club or something back in Georgia?" And I was like, "I just don't know of one that is more recurve than compound." And he's like, "You've heard of Griv, right?" I was like, "No, not really." But I found out that it was the shop that is literally 10-15 minutes from my house. And I've been shooting here ever since. It's just, it also helped that Griv was Trainwreck's instructor, and he was a coach for Paralympics as well as the regular Olympics. So he's been very uh, helpful for me these past years. And he allows me to just shoot here, help around the shop, and just help talk to people about archery and get them interested. And it's been keeping me going.
Yeah, that's the part that enjoy, I haven't been able to shoot for a while, but it's still fun to get out and help other archers, get going. And I help out, not just at the expo, but 2 or 3 times a year I help out with other events. They have some other events around here Nebraska has, and they've got a women in the outdoors that they go through a whole bunch of stuff for, the archery. They got 22s, they got shotguns, they got cooking, they got canoeing, all kinds of stuff to get ladies, focus with ladies, get them outdoors. A
Mhm.
lot of us guys, we already are going to be outside, but a lot of the ladies don't. So that whole program is just for them. And I go down and help out the Archie part of it and, teach them. And you've got maybe 45 minutes. That's all you've got with each group that comes through. So you don't have a lot of time. So you got to get, okay, we're going to teach this because it's the safest way to go. And they teach a bit more of an open stance because you don't worry about hitting your arms and chest and everything else. Well, if you shoot the way to closed stance, if you have the wrong grip, you're going to hit your arm every time.
Yeah.
So, so we don't really teach that when you have like 45 minutes total.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. The way I do it is because also while I was in that car wreck, I had a broken scaphoid, which is, like you said, it's right at where you need to put the right pressure on the bow. And I couldn't do it. So there's several times I hit my arm because I can't put the bow in the right spot all the time. And I just had to figure out a different spot and allow the expansion and pressure that I was talking about happen. And I keep the arm guards pretty active. uh,
yeah.
the days I forget it, or there's been a few tournaments where I forgot it before getting there, and I had to shoot, and my arm just looked like a bruise in that one spot continuously. But yeah, Yeah, having the right form and having the right equipment definitely helps.
Yeah, that's the big point, and that's what I like. Talking to all you different archers. What are you doing? What equipment are you using? How are you shooting them? I learn a lot from you guys on what you're doing, and then I can always take some of that into what I'm doing, and get better at what I'm doing. And so, um, one of the things I got some elastic bands that I've been trying to get my strength back. The latest one I couldn't even pull back, so I'm drawing back like a recurve, right-handed, and then also doing it left-handed to work them. So I've been basically practicing right and left-handed shooting equally amount. And when I was up there, I was able to shoot the little 25-pound bows and demonstrating, to a right-hander, I'm gonna show them left-handed because they can see what's going on. And get the left-handers, I'm showing them right-handed. It's like, so it seemed like those that didn't really have that much experience teaching, it's like any left-hander like, oh, I can't teach. It's like, just show them what you do.
Mhm.
That's what you got to do. It's the right-handers that are a little more difficult. You got to show them left-handed.
Yeah.
You can show, but now then you're pointing the wrong direction, or they have to turn around and look at you. This way, they can actually imitate what you're doing because it's just a mirror image, and um, which is nice. I do have a 25-pound recurve. I think I'm gonna make a string for it, so I don't have a string. Um, it was one of those that when I had my store, they sent in a left-hander in a right-handed box, and I just never sent it back. Um, so I've don't know where the string went, but I got the jig to make strings, so I'll just make a string for it, and um, I'll start with that, and I'll start doing some shooting with that left-handed, and then when I think I can get to the strength, I get my right-handed one out, and but it's 40 or 45 pounds.
Yeah, that's about what mine is that I compete with. And uh, there was times that I felt like I couldn't pull it back because of my injuries. And I was like,
Yeah.
well, I'll just shoot this many arrows. And now I shoot for close to 3 hours every day. And it goes back to what you said about the bow has to feel right. And
Right.
uh, even when the bow didn't feel right, I was trying to get as many arrows as possible down. And it's just a process.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a process that you got to go through. And, fortunately, I'm up enough to where at least I can do 25-pound bows because there for a while, the little water bottles that, what are they, 700 milliliters? Like
Hmm.
that's these are, yeah. I couldn't lift it. One of these bottles like this, I couldn't lift it. It was too heavy after the accident.
Hmm.
And like I lost all my strength and everything. And I didn't have any balance. I still don't have good balance. So um, not sure how well I do shooting a rifle because I don't know if I could be steady enough to shoot it. Because I'm used to being, pretty steady.
Yep. Yeah. At the trials, we also had pellet rifle uh, competition. And just like archery, you needed to have good balance, good form. And even though I never shot a pellet rifle before because I only shot bows, uh,
Right.
I was able to put the same mindset to it and shot pretty well. I got fifth place out of the entire thing.
Well, that's pretty good.
Yep. And especially since, once again, I was a blind guy having to shoot against able bodied, visually impaired able bodies. And it's just, every time I move into something, I fall right back to archery. It's just what feels right.
Yeah. And fortunately, you can do archery for many, many years.
Yep. And even when I lose my sight entirely, I'll move to that tactile sight.
Now, how does that work?
The tactile sight,
Yeah,
like I said, they bolt your feet down and then imagine a buoy out in front of your bow arm. And so
yeah.
as you're expanding out towards the target, your hand hits a little needle, and that needle lets you know that you expanded all the way to where you're supposed to, and you release. And it allows uh, visually impaired archers to uh, still shoot. And I had the opinion that I would do better that way, but USA Archery keeps telling me I'm not blind enough.
You're not blind enough because you have a little bitty spot you can see.
Exactly. If it was the opposite and I could only see my peripherals, but I couldn't see dead in front of me, then I would qualify. But
No.
because it's the opposite, even though my acuity to the target is I it's just a blur, but I they consider that not bad enough. And I've fought it for several years, and even especially after I got hit with the garage door and I started noticing my vision even worse, and they're like, "Nope, you still not bad enough." I get attacked at just going down the street, and I end up with a concussion, and I go in, and I'm like, I don't think I can see as well as I did. And they test me, and yes, there's more field gone. So I send it back to USA Archery, and they still say I don't qualify. So, and I'm now 40, so I'm like, I got 10 years to get as far as I can before my vision does completely go. And by then, I'll be shooting masters. So I might not shoot Paralympic anymore, but at least I can shoot in a different division, maybe.
Yeah. Well, as long as you can keep shooting, right?
Exactly.
Well, it's been great talking with you. Um, I've learned a lot about overcoming obstacles, and if you want to uh, shoot a bow. We can
Uh,
figure out a way for you to shoot it, and that's the key is if you want to do something, let's figure out how to do it, right?
exactly. And there's people out there that will teach you. Uh,
Yeah,
like I said, Trainwreck was really good with that. Griv here in Snellville, Georgia, is very experienced on it and knows how to help you. So there's people out there that can help.
yeah. And there's a lot of resources you can use out there. The podcast is named March Talk 101, but I also have a Facebook group with the same name.
Hmm.
And in that group, we have all kinds of archers. And if you have a problem shooting with your bow, there's a problem with your bow, you think, take a video of your shooting. If you think your form might need adjusting, if you're having trouble with something, take a video shooting, upload it to the group, and we'll take a look at it and say, hey, this is what we think is going on, and give you some pointers, and you can take them or not, but it's it's the service that we offer to the group is, hey, having a problem, let us know.
Yep,
And um, if you have an event going on, like a tournament or something, go ahead and post the link to that tournament in the group. I encourage that, and if I see one of those, I actually pin it at the top. Now, the best way to get back to the group is become a member and try and sell T-shirts right away.
Yeah.
Delete ban. We don't sell items in the group. Um, I don't even we don't have really giveaways, stuff. Oh, it's free. I just there's other sites that do that. So this is all
Mhm.
just I want to, pure content of you having struggles, we'll learn. Let's learn together. And that's a good way to watch these podcasts is in that group. I post them in there as well as on my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel's name is Learn to Fix It Yourself. I have not just archery stuff, but all kinds of stuff. I have welding projects out there. I have woodworking projects out there. I have gardening projects and canning and freeze drying and uh, whatever. I just record a lot of videos and put them up on my YouTube channel. And then if you want to listen to it, you can listen to it on Spotify or wherever you get your podcast, as well as go out to audible.com. You can listen to it there free, which is kind of nice. I love it because it'll just keep track of all of them for you.
Yep.
And then I'm putting together archtalk101.com, which I have linked into this podcast. I'm building it out. I'm gonna put other podcasts as I come across them. I'll have links in there so you can go there and get that. And I'll eventually have some links into some products that I recommend using. Um, and I just have different areas in there. I'm in the process of building it and working full time and doing this. I not working real fast at it because like I
Yeah.
said, I'm still trying to recover from my accident, and sometimes I get home from work and it's like, yeah, okay, I don't feel like doing anything right now. I've got to my mind's got to unwind.
That's one of the benefits I have from being 100% disabled. I can't work. So
Yeah,
all I do
yeah,
is archery. And my wife is like, you can't just shoot archery all day. You got to do something else. I'm like, why?
or what?
Yeah.
Yeah,
She ended up starting her own baking uh, business here in our area of Gwinnett, and it's just exploded. So she's able to do it all from the house, and then since I can't drive, she drives me up to the range, and I'm here for another 3 or 4 hours.
yeah. What's the name of her business?
Valkyrie Sundries.
Okay, she have a website for it or anything or
She
YouTube channel?
does. See if I. It's valkyriesundries.com.
How do you spell that? Because I'll put a link to it in description. Just send her some more business, maybe.
You can also get her stuff at the local uh, bodega that we have our
Okay.
stuff at, called Haven, same as in uh, uh, Haven of uh, getting away from something. It's a sandwich coffee shop, and they use her bread for their sandwiches. We sell some of the just straight bread there, and we just got a contract for doing desserts. So we do
Oh, cool.
everything from gluten free to uh, cookies, lemon bars, uh, muffins. And George allows me here to put contracts together to for the archers and their families to make orders here at Archery Learning Center. So uh, it's been growing.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you send me a link to her stuff in Messenger and then I'll add the links in?
Sure, I can do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Because trying to remember all those and remember how to spell them. And it's like, yeah, if you just send me the link, I'll put it in the description. So, anybody's interested, hey, it makes it easier. I like to put the links into what we talk about, just make it, more convenient for everybody to um, catch up on it and see what's going on and find the links to them and go from
Hmm.
there.
Well, I'll give you that, and I'll give you Archery Learning Center's link because George can also do lessons uh, via web. That's why I was trying to use his computer, but
Oh,
like I
yeah,
told you before we jumped on, I am not a tech person.
yeah. Well, and I've done coaching online as well too. In fact, my first student was in Italy,
Yep.
and then the second student I helped on was in Canada. I'm in Nebraska here in the United States, and we're teaching online. It can be done fairly easy. In person is better,
Oh yeah.
but next thing is here because you know teach on a Zoom call.
Hmm.
I can watch you shoot. I can send you critiques, and we can do videos, and I can play them back and everything else. And nice thing about doing YouTube videos, I have an editor where I can actually go through frame at a time, and I can look at it and I can put notes on it, and you know send it back to you as like, hey, okay, at this point here, and I can zoom in on it and everything else, and I can take snapshots and all kinds of stuff, and it's a lot better than when I first started. It was VCR tapes.
Yep. Same here.
That VCR tape or watch it live, and I did a lot of coaching watching them live, and you learn to pick up stuff, but you've got to shoot multiple times because I'm going to watch something and then I'm going to watch the same thing again. You're going to shoot two or three times, and it's okay. Here's what you're doing is inconsistent, and but if you can show them, show a video back, it's like, okay, here's what you're doing, and here's what you're doing that we can improve on. Not that you're doing it wrong. It's just we can improve this by changing this.
Yep.
Yeah. If it works for you, it works for you. If
Yeah.
not, it doesn't.
Like I said, as long as you can shoot it the exact same way every time, we can move a sight, we can move a stance. There's ways that I've noticed, and it's probably the case, but there's a particular way the body shoots the bow the best. And if you can do that, then you'll probably be more accurate. But if you
Yeah.
can't, let's get it to where you can shoot the exact same way every time.
Yeah. And that's where, I talked a little bit about that shoot with your eyes closed. Or draw with your eyes closed and getting into form. And if you get that form down, you should be able to draw eyes closed and shoot and hit your spot every time.
Hmm.
If you do everything the same way every time, foot placement, hand placement, breathing, when
Yeah.
I've been practicing, I'll take a deep breath, exhale, not all of it, get to my anchor point, and then as I'm releasing, exhale the rest of the way and bring the hand across my face. And
Yep.
and I even practice that when I'm doing I don't just kind of pull them. I'll go through that whole process while I'm practicing with the elastic bands to build the strength so I can shoot my bow.
Exactly.
Then it becomes a habit. You don't even think about it, just do it.
Yeah, it's when I start to question. I was like, all right, that didn't feel right. What did I do? Ah, okay.
Yeah, yeah. It's like I'll teach an archer shoes using a release, the wrist strap. And one of the things I'll do after go through a little bit, I says, okay, we're going to see what a good release feels like. Draw back, finger off the trigger, get your finger above it. Okay, all you do is aim. And I keep pulling, 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 and I'll reach up and I'll touch that trigger, and that just explodes. And it's like, whoa, and 95% or better, it actually hits where they're aiming. And I says, that's what it should feel. I don't feel like that, you're not doing it right.
Yeah, exactly. But uh, probably gotta get off here soon because
Yeah.
I'm getting buzzes from my wife. And like I said, she has to do all the driving. She's like, "We're
We're
here."
oh, we're here. Yeah, yeah. Don't keep her waiting too long, or she might leave you stranded there all night.
Luckily, we got Uber.
Oh, well,
That's
that's
another
true.
thing that has changed over the decades.
Yeah, you can always call somebody to come pick you up, and Uber's generally pretty inexpensive.
Yeah, but Yeah, it was good talking, and I'll add those emails and links for you. So,
Yeah, yeah. Glad to help her out with her business a little bit and maybe to get even bigger. And
uh, we're gonna need a bigger house at that point.
yeah, well, or a commercial kitchen.
Yeah, yeah. Haven wants to expand to multiple locations, and we're both going, I just got an industrial oven. Now we need refrigeration, just fix the AC. uh,
Yeah. Well,
but
it's been great talking with you. Um, my name is Roy Canterbury. I've been your host today on Archer Talk 101 with Christopher Clark, and we had a real good conversation. Learned a lot about overcoming challenges, and hats off to you.
thank you.
Oh, my hat's still on. My headphones are holding it on, but hats off to you for all you've done and keeping with it, and you know keep us informed on what's going on. And if you have something exciting come up, hey, let's book another call and get back on the call again. Yeah, I'm
Like I
open for
said,
that.
Lancaster is the next one I'm doing. So if anyone's going to Lancaster, you'll see me wearing the ALC jersey that you see me wearing now. And we'll the just come and enjoy or come and shoot.
Yeah, either shoot or watch. Why don't just be there, right?
Yeah, it's a great event.
Yeah. Well, it's been great talking to you, and we'll catch you later.
All right. Thanks. Bye.